You're a principal and you're like, how can I use this thing called ChatGPT? Well, I'm going to show you how you can use ChatGPT as a principal. I want you to realize that ChatGPT is there for you to enhance what you're doing. It is not there for you to do your homework and have it cheat for you. Well, maybe it can do some editing for you. So let's jump over to ChatGPT and see what ChatGPT can do for you as a principal. If you're new to ChatGPT and you've never seen it before, this is a version of a generative pre-trained transformer. This is OpenAI's version. There are other versions out there like Gemini and Perplexity. Bing is associated with OpenAI, and you can go directly to Bing and ask it to do some things for you. So let me explain this platform. So if you're looking at the platform, you will notice that there's this big old open white box. Now you can turn that on to dark mode if you like, but also what you can see is on the left side, you have what they call a sidebar. You can close it or you can open it. I usually leave it open so I can see all of the different topics that I've talked about or had conversations with ChatGPT about. So typically I start here and I select ChatGPT just to have an open, plain, clean slate. I also have the paid version, which is 4.0. Now there is a difference. 3.5, you can ask it some questions. It'll put some, give you an output when you put that into ChatGPT, but you can't upload a document. But you can copy, cut, and paste and have it edit for you. So typically, what I'd want you to do if you're a principal, even a teacher for that matter, but if you're a principal, and depending on what time of the year it is, you know there's something going on that you have questions about, you're pondering, or you're not quite sure what to do. Maybe this is a situation where you want to have a conversation with a parent and the parent is very concerned about their child, and you want it to run the conversation where it doesn't get so-called hijacked from you and become where it's an argument or you said this or you said that. You want to have a dialogue. So what we can do is we can ask ChatGPT to help you have a dialogue instead of this combative conversation. So let's ask ChatGPT to do that in the free version first. Now, here's a scenario. I have a parent meeting regarding an eighth grade student. The parent is frustrated with their child, student, not doing their algebra homework. The parent, or they are also frustrated because they believe the teacher gives out too much homework. Give me a way to have a conversation that is from a listening lens and help the parent through their issue with their child. So let's see what happens when we do this. So what you'll want to do is just select this arrow here, or you can select enter. Either way will work. And what I've noticed about 3.5 is it's a lot faster than 4.0. And we're going to take the same prompt and put it in there to see what the difference will be. So this is what ChatGPT came up with. Have a productive conversation with a parent is essential for addressing their concerns and finding a resolution that benefits both the student and the parent. Here's a suggested approach. I'm just going to read the bullets. Express empathy and understanding. And it gives you actually something I do want to read. And it gives you begin the conversation by acknowledging the parent's frustration. And this is how the recommendation is. I understand that you're frustrated about your child's algebra homework and the amount of homework given by the teacher. It can definitely be challenging when it feels like there's too much to handle. And then you can validate their concerns and go to the question. It's completely understandable that you feel this way. Your child's education is important, and it's natural to want what's best for them. Ask open-ended questions. Can you tell me more about what's happening with your child's algebra homework? How do they feel? And in this situation, I almost would want the child to be there. So I would probably update my prompt a little bit. Listen actively. Seek common ground. Avoid interrupting or jumping to conclusions. Reflect back what you hear to ensure understanding. Provide information and perspective. Explore solutions. There are some other questions that I probably would ask, and you may come up with them when you rate this. For example, I would probably ask the child, what does it look like when you go home? Or ask the parent, what does it look like when your child comes home, whatever their name is, and what do they do the moment they get home? Like, for example, maybe the child will say, oh, they jump right onto their Xbox and they start playing games, and then it's 2 hours later. Well, that's a lot of brain power. They're probably exhausted. So that might be as well, tell me why you're not considering doing your homework first. So things like that. It might prompt some ideas. So let's take the same prompt, I'm going to copy it. And now we're going to go to 4.0 and ask the same thing. Let's see if it changes anything. And you'll notice that it takes a little bit longer where you saw before in 3.5, it just spit it right out. But this time it's really thinking about it and it's pulling more information. 4.0 has access, you can ask it to search research behind this. You can ask it to search the web. It'll search with Bing, for example. Now notice this preparation. You notice that you have more headers, starting the conversation, listening and acknowledging, sharing insights. And then the difference, interestingly, um, let's see. Oh, it has questions. Okay, so here, I appreciate you bringing your concerns to me. It's clear you care deeply about your child's education and well-being. Can you tell me more about what you've noticed with homework and how it's affecting your child? So I like that question a little bit better. And then coming down here, it sounds like this situation has been really stressful for both of you and your child. And again, I would push it a little bit more, give me more open-ended questions to understand what's really happening at home, like things like that. Give me more questions that are probing about what happens when the child student gets home. Like, and I might even ask 3.5, but if you're using the free version, this is definitely something that you can consider when you're doing this with as a principal. It's great to have these questions available because what it will do, it will allow you to have a conversation with parents where it's not antagonistic and blaming, because parents have a perspective. And sometimes when parents show up to school, they're coming with their perception of what school was like. And we have to be very aware of that. So now, here's some understanding the routine. Can you walk me through what a typical afternoon or evening looks like for your child after school? I would almost, because this is an eighth grader, I would say, um, assume the student is in the room, and the teacher is present as well. Because what you want to do is not make the teacher feel like this is the parent against the teacher, making it collaborative and making this about what can we do to support the child and not about, well, you give too much homework. Because I'm going to say it's a shocker when they get so much homework in college. Focus on that for a moment, and we're trying to enable a child to get away with not doing something that the teacher believes they're fully capable of, and I would go with that. Until, if a child can't do what the teacher is offering, then that's a different conversation. So let's ask, having the student present. Here are some questions. Start by affirming the student. Can you share with us what you find challenging about your homework? How do you feel when you start working on your assignments? So this is even better than asking the parent. I mean, if this was a first grader, I still would ask these questions of the child, but their level cognitive ability to answer some of these might need some support, but you can probe and give some wait time. But I believe that it's better to ask the child a question and even give bring the teacher in and say this, front load the teacher and say, this is what we're going to talk about. It's not an us against you or them against, us, things like that. But what we want to do is help the child, the student, be successful. So remember, school is there to support students, and the principal is there to support the teacher. So you do not want to be going against your teachers because they're the expert in the classroom. You're not in the classroom anymore. So you need to support them completely. So these are some great, these are some great questions. Let me finish my thought. What kind of help do you need or prefer when you're stuck on a homework problem? Of course, if they see this, they're like, maybe I could ask ChatGPT. But that is another video. And if you want to see that video, check this video out here. So, and I'll throw these prompts in the description as well below. You should just be able to grab them. What I'd like you to think about when you are using ChatGPT is, what can it do to support you as a leader? And what can it do to make your life a little bit easier, making something simple that you're doing in the office, maybe doing some editing. Please read it, even if it does edit, because it might take the voice away from you. If you're writing a letter of recommendation or reference letter for someone, you can put in everything that you know about the person and then say, write this letter for me from my voice. I would caution you to just upload a resume because it's not as personal, but you can take parts of the resume and throw it in there. That way you're not pulling from different school sites if this person actually taught or worked at a different school site or district as well. Even though that would still work, and that's just fine. The other thing is you can come up with, all the teachers filled out this survey and they recommended all these professional developments, but we need to stick to 3. What are some themes that work together based on this PD? You can upload that survey, for example, make sure there's no names in it, or you can say, these are all of the things they came up with. What are some book recommendations that we can do a book study, or what are some PD offerings that would work for our school site? That one I really like to do as well, because teachers should be the voice of the professional development. Yes, there should be other things to enrich what they're doing, because you should be doing some research as well. I hope this video is very useful and helpful to you. Please comment and tell me how you're using ChatGPT as a principal, as a leader, and how you're making your life a little bit easier when you are doing your work in your office. Thank you so much for watching. Again, please comment, subscribe, and like. Have a great day.